Well, normally for me, some things don't go according to plan. Originally, I was going to have Ring of Honor on this one, but what I didn't realize, they actually, where I was watching, they put the Maple Leaf collaboration with. If you guys remember, they had the Global Wars. I was intending to combine that one along with the other Maple Leaf show, Uprising, that took place the following day. I might do that at another point. But right now, I'm just going to focus on one event, and that is, of course, New Japan with more of Road to Sakura Genesis. Now, this one, of course, happened, well, 48 hours prior before the big one that took place. So that's pretty much what's happening. So this is day 5. Now, to anybody ask, what about day 2, day 3, and day 4? Well, for those are actually house shows, so they're not actually live, in case anybody asks. But there are some bits of clips on their social media, mostly on X, to check out. But I want to focus on this one only, just to lay off the pressure on me because of had some errands to do, and that's the reason. But to wrap up our episode, we got a very short news updates for all of you guys, to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is the channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So, as I said, it's a one review episode only. Now let's jump into New Japan Pro Wrestling. Alright, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Day 5 of the Road to Sakura Genesis. This happened on the 2nd of April, of course. This only just 48 hours before we head to, of course, to Sakura Genesis, in case anybody asks. And this was at the Korakuen Hall, in case anybody asks. Now, our first match is tag team action. We have Masatora Yasuda teaming up with Time Spinner Kushida. They take on Tiger Mask and Shota Umino. Now, obviously, when it comes to Tiger Mask, we all know the reasons why he's involved in this match. As you know, he'll be retiring by July, which ironically, of course, is the debut day of him, of course, that took place. But nonetheless, the match was pretty good, a good opener. But it was, in fact, what's his name? Shota Umino that picked up the win by applying the Raging Fire onto Yasuda, and this was also a direct message to Konosuke Takeshita. So basically, you all know what that's about. So that's how the whole thing. However, of course, Umino did not went backstage. He went to the open seat that was in the commentary booth, the Japanese commentary booth, just to be let you guys know, because Takeshita was in action to take on Tatsuya Matsumoto. As you know, Matsumoto is a member of the Goto Revolutionary Army. Well, this time he's on his own. But of course, in this match, we all presume exactly how this was going to play out. Takeshita picked up the win by applying the Blue Thunder Bomb, and of course, we did see a bit of a face-to-face confrontation between. Well, Takeshita won by the Blue Thunder Bomb. 1, 2, 3 was done. But during the end, of course, Shota Umino got into his face, of course, and face-to-face, that sort of thing. So you probably can guess how that's going to be. But no brawl or anything took place, which of course people would have wanted to see, but it did not happen. Now our next match, Master Wato teams up with the Great Bash Heel, consisting of Tomoaki Hamna and Togi Makabe, which once again they team up with the team that we recently saw, El Desperado, Taichi, formerly of Suzuki-gun, now teaming up, and they team up with Yuya Uemura once again. As you know, Yuya Uemura and Taichi were part of what used to be 5 guys, then 4 guys, and then of course they had to disband, that sort of thing. But it was a pretty good match, I'm not gonna lie. I think I like this version of Taichi, Yuya Uemura, and El Desperado, because Taichi has been with both sides, you know, with Suzuki-gun and just the guys, that sort of thing. It plays out pretty well. But it was Taichi who picked up the win by pinning Hamna, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. But we did see a bit of a brawl between, of course, Yuya Uemura and Togi Makabe. I don't know what that was about, but it was very much intensified, in case you guys ask. Now our next match, we have the House of Losers, of course, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Don Fale, Yujiro Takahashi, Chase Owens, and Ren Narita. They take on Huntai, consisting of Toru Yano, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto Bishiman. They also got Bolton Oleg and Aaron Wolf. So nothing too special, but except we all know when it comes to the House of Losers what their MO is. I mean, their MO is to beat up their opponents, use dirty tricks to ensure they picked up the win, and that pretty much happened. But in fact, it was Yano who ended up being victim of Fale when he gave him a big elbow, running elbow, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match, we have, of course, TMDK's Hartley Jackson, Roy Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. taking on the Unbound, Geto, and our current IWGP Tag Team Champions, the Naga brothers, Oscar and Yuro Ai. So you can guess that this is a preliminary match between both sides, since we know Oiwa and Zack Sabre Jr. are aiming for the tag belts, and that's something that, of course, many of us can see and, of course, observe very clearly. But Geto was the one who ended up being taken out by Jackson with the Jagged Edge, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now our next match, this was our last match because our double main event is championship. We have the United Empire, consistent of Cal Newman, Zane J, and of course Jake Lee. As you probably can guess, this is a preview before we head to Sakura Genesis. They take on the Unbound, Daiki Nagai, Shingo Takagi, and Yota Tsuji. Now remember, Cal Newman won this year's New Japan Cup, and he aims for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. And that's pretty much what was going to happen. And of course, we did see some certain things going around, Jake Lee being like a nut job, but in the end, it was in fact Cal Newman with the Excalibur on the guy, and just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. But however, Cal Newman made it clear that he's going to dethrone him and become the youngest IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now our next match is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team belts. The members of the United Empire, most specifically Jacob Austin Young and the Big Crybaby, who needs diapers, Francisco Kera, take on the Unbound, Robbie X and Taiji Shimori. If you guys remember, after, of course, Robbie X and Taiji Shimori became new tag champions, they were viciously blindsided by the United Empire, more specifically Jacob Austin Young and, of course, Akira obviously because they felt that they didn't deserve these belts, and that's exactly. Now, of course, they were determined to win in any way possible, but however, Robbie X and Titus Shimori were able to coexist very well, and of course, you would have assumed that they didn't miss a beat. Well, they were able to take out Jacob Austin Young, but it was Robbie X with the X Express to put away Jacob Austin Young, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. They retained the belts. However, during the post-match, we saw a surprise visit from the Ichiban Sweet Boy himself, of Kosa Fujita. So, as you know, he and Robbie X are challenging for these belts that they lost to them. So, you can guess that this is another rematch, or however say a rubber match, whatever they call it, but they plays out pretty well. Now, our next match is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Yo takes on Doiki. Now, as you all know, Yo has been tormenting Doiki in every way by impersonating Evil, doing his shtick, you know, because that I thought it was funny. But of course, when it comes to Doiki, he thinks he's the best because he's the champion. But we all know that he's just a total loser who will do whatever it takes to win by Nick taking out the referee. They took out 3 referees, for Christ's sakes. And that led the door open for the House of Losers to make their way. And that's exactly what happened. But the more that, you know, they thought they had this one, somehow Yo was able to survive it. But unfortunately, his body finally gave out. And Doki applied the suplex de la Luna. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, he retained the belt. But however, his celebration was cut very, very, very short with the arrival of Tiger Mask, who is asking for a shot of the title, and I'm sure many people are looking forward to that since we know he's close to the end of his career. So we'll see what happens. We'll pay more attention to that. But as of right now, we'll end things here and move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with some upcoming events, and this is going to be a bit of a short one. Now, as you know, we got some events coming up for Las Vegas. Now, if you guys are not familiarized, a bunch of events are going to be taking place during WrestleMania week. Amongst them is West Coast Pro with West Coast versus the World, which of course they collaborate with other wrestling promotions like Marvelous and all that. Well, more matches have been announced. The West Coast Pro Tag Team belts, Aaron Solo and Alan Angels will defend them against the Cajun Catch Revival, which consisted of Jaya Jewel, and I forgot who else was involved. And then we have, of course, Starboy Charlie taking on Adam Priest. Now, I know some of you might question, wait a minute, isn't he part of Evolve? Yes, guys, but he doesn't have like a full-time WWE contract, but he does have a contract where he can appear in Evolve if he wants to appear and Evolve, but he can still commit to his independent commitments. So we've seen that already with various wrestlers, so no big surprise there. Then we have, of course, the Future Stars of Wrestling showcasing the WWE ID. They just revealed that both WWE ID championships were on the line. For the men's, as you know, Starboy Charlie is the current champion. He'll be defending it against Marcus Mathers. But the women's, it features Lady Luck. She'll be defending it against Notorious Mimi, who, as you all know, recently got signed with WWE ID Prospect. So that's pretty much of the upcoming events. Now on to some developments. Billy Gunn just gave an update on his son Colton. He is medically clear. Now it's still unclear when it's going to happen. We know that most of the people of the Bang Bang Gang are out, but Billy Gunn is ensuring us that Colton will be returning to wrestling soon. Thunder Rosa, Fightful Select, reports that she is expected to sign a dual contract not only with AEW, but with CMLL. And now it's official. On social media, you can see Lutheroth congratulating her on her sign. So that means she'll be wrestling both AEW and CML. So this is the same thing we've been seeing with Claudio, who represents AEW, now going to CML. Same thing we're seeing in reverse as well. Finally, a statement from Dragon Gate over regarding to Dragon Dia's departure from the promotion. If you guys remember, he announced his departure from the promotion. This is, of course, what the statement they put out. Let me pull it up for everyone. Here it is. To everyone, regarding the matter since the been announcement of the agency as well, I would like to provide some additional clarification to avoid any misunderstandings. First, regarding discussions about my oh no, this is from Dragon Dia, my bad. Yeah, from discussions from my departure from the group. We have held multiple direct meetings since last autumn. During those discussions, there were talks about conditions associated with the departure, such as penalties or activities restriction. And since the content was difficult to assess based on my own knowledge alone, I consulted with experts and they have proceeded with negotiations through my representative. Additionally, regarding my intentions to depart, well as timing and consent announced, this were communicated in advance to the other party representatives through my representative before proceeding. All those were measures to advance the discussions more appropriate and calm the matter where the decisions aim to achieve smoother resolutions and negotiations and still ongoing. The details I can share are limited, but I will continue to approach this with sincerity and moving forward. On my end, I intended to make the departure announcement without touching on any aspects of the negotiations with the agency. However, since the agency announced including descriptions of the circumstances, I am reluctant to provide the supplement. I would appreciate your continued support and understanding. So yeah, they wanted to ensure that this thing, what's going on with Dragon Dia, it's not exactly what we think. I mean, people like to create their own narrative, so it's understandable what he's trying to do. But apparently, his departure apparently is something that's been discussed. So we'll see where that goes. But as of right now, we'll follow up more on that if that's the case. But we'll just wait. Until then, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we may do Sakura Genesis, the actual one we're going to be reviewing. I know there's a recent Stardom show. I'm not sure if I'll be able to see that, but we'll just have to wait and see. I am considering to catch up with Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, the one we did with Ring of Honor, Global Wars, and the Uprising. We'll see how things will go on those. But if not, then I apologize. So I may come up with an alternative if I'm unable to do those two simultaneously. But we'll see. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is and move forward. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.